Hello learners, you're welcome to study session 9. In this study session, we shall be talking about punctuation. At the end of study session 9, you should be able to define punctuation and explain its relevance to writing. You should also be able to list and explain types of punctuation marks. Punctuation is the act of inserting marks or signs in written texts for the purpose of 1. Separating structural units, achieving readability, and making meaning clearer. That is, when you make use of punctuation marks, you can separate your expressions into structural units. Not only that, your readers can read your piece of writing smoothly and enjoyably. And number 3, meaning will be clearer to readers. In your writing, you ought to pay attention to the way you use punctuation marks and the way you spell the words you use. You need to know that these are some of the features that examiners look out for in essay writing or other kinds of writing. So your ability in these areas will go a long way in determining how successful your piece of writing would be. Punctuation is very important and relevant to the writing skill. Sometimes when you write or speak, you pause and then continue. You must have noticed that in the way I speak. You do the same too. At times you express your emotions and readers can decipher your feelings as they reach the lines. They can see through whatever you have written so that they get to know how you feel. You will be able to express feelings of joy, happiness, excitement when you use certain kinds of punctuation marks. So punctuation marks make all of this possible so that you are able to achieve readability. The absence of punctuation marks will render your writing meaningless or ambiguous. In other words, people who read your written piece will not be able to make meaning out of it. They may misunderstand the intention that is behind the piece that you have put together. Not only that, they may make out more than two meanings, more than one meaning from whatever you have written. Punctuation marks make your reading of a written piece smooth and meaningful. This implies that you will find an appropriately punctuated passage very interesting to read. However, you need to be very careful in your use of punctuation marks in your writing. There are different types of punctuation marks, and these are categorized into 1. End punctuation, 2. Internal punctuation, and 3. Word punctuation. End punctuation marks are used at the end of sentences. They are the full stop, the question mark, the exclamation mark. The full stop is also called period, and it is used in the following ways. Number 1, at the end of a declarative sentence, e.g., I read the book yesterday. Some people erroneously use full stops at the end of incomplete sentences. You need to be very careful. Such expression like, as I was going to London to see the Queen, full stop. As I was going to London to see the Queen, full stop. That's not a sentence and it must not attract a full stop. Note that in British English, the dot or full stop is not used at the end of abbreviations formed from the first and last letters of a word. Look at the word doctor. That word begins with letter D and hence with letter R. And the shortened form is DR. There is no need putting a dot at the end of that shortened form. It's the same with the word street and the word lieutenant, as you can see on the screen. In American English usage, these are written with a dot at the end of the abbreviations. Many students do not know that this pattern is the American English style. Number 2, the question mark. This is used after a question, that is, after an interrogative sentence or a statement question. Examples are, what time is it by your watch? How old are you? You can see that each of these attracts a question mark. Number 3, you won ₦1 million. You won ₦1 million. A statement question marked by intonation would then have a different form of pronunciation. You won ₦1 million is going to be a statement, but you won ₦1 million is a question. So there's a difference between you won ₦1 million and you won ₦1 million The former is a declarative sentence, while the latter is a question. What are you waiting for? That's a question that also attracts a question mark. Note that you are not expected to use a full stop at the end of a sentence which already ends with a question mark. The same way too, you are not expected to use a full stop at the end of a question that ends with an exclamation mark. So that takes us to number 3, the exclamation mark. Another name for exclamations is interjections. An exclamation mark is used at the end of statements or sentences that express surprise, joy, sadness, excitement, etc. Consider the following. Alas, the man died. Wow, you dress well. Note that you are not expected to use a full stop at the end of a sentence which already ends in an exclamation mark. I've said that to you before. Now we go to the second category of punctuation, types of punctuation. We have internal punctuation. Here we recognize the comma. The comma is the most familiar punctuation mark used most often by students in writing. It's unfortunate that today there has been a great misuse of these punctuation marks, resulting in what is known as comma splice, a situation in which students carelessly use or people carelessly use comma, inserting them where they are not supposed to be. In fact, at the end of the day, you have a profuse use of a comma in a piece of writing, and that mars the entire written piece. The second type of internal punctuation is the inverted comma, where we recognize the single and the double quotation marks. These are also used in different ways. You note that the single quotation mark is the British version of the American double quotation mark. However, even in British English, the double quotation mark is used in certain ways. You have to refer to the GNS 101 course materials for more details about this. We have also round brackets or parentheses, where we recognize also the square brackets. So we have the round brackets and the square brackets. The use of a bracket or parenthesis indicates a part of a larger body of information neatly enclosed within the structure. The use of a bracket or parenthesis indicates a part of a larger body of information neatly enclosed within the structure of a sentence. So you should note the difference in the use of the round bracket and the square bracket. They are used differently. While words that are enclosed in a parenthesis or round brackets within a sentence are parts of the sentence, especially when the bracket is removed and replaced by a comma, words that are enclosed in the square brackets are not parts of the general sentence. Consider the examples 1 and 2 below. In 1, the enclosed words are part of the entire sentence. In 2, the enclosed word is not part of the sentence, and that explains the use of the round brackets and the square brackets. The colon is also one of the internal punctuation marks. This is used in an opening statement to show or indicate that an explanation will soon follow. So I'm going to present an explanation, to further make people understand what you had said earlier. It can also help to introduce a list or a statement that expands upon the clause before the colon. Look at it. For my birthday, I would like the following gift items: a cake, a nice navy blue suit, and a brand new car. You can see that the items are listed, and before the items are listed, there is a colon. Number 5, the semicolon. This is used. Number 5, the semicolon. This is used when a slight break in a sentence is preferable to a new sentence. It is also used to join or separate clauses that are closely related within a sentence. So the semicolon has a double behavior of that of a full stop and a comma. People often say that the semicolon is shorter than the full stop, longer than a comma. That's another way to understand the way the semicolon functions, that it is shorter than a full stop and longer than a comma. Look at the example. I am yet to travel in an aircraft. However, it has always been my dream to travel. It has always been my dream to travel in the aircraft. That is supposed to end that way. There are more examples of usage in the GNS 101 course materials. Now we also have the dash. It is used to make a sudden or brief interruption within a sentence structure. For example, Joseph asked me, dash, in crooked voice if I will go with him to hunt for animals. So we can use the dash to make a sudden or brief interruption within a sentence, as you can see. Then we have the caret. It is used to show and replace any case of omission in a sentence. In the sentence, George scored highest mark in the exercise. There is the omission of the definite article D before highest. So we have George scored the highest mark in the exercise. And so to insert the omitted word, that is the omitted article, you can use that sign, the caret, to show that there has been an omission, and then you can insert the missing word. This is often common in a piece of writing that is done in longhand, that is not typeset. Be careful not to allow a preponderant use of the caret. You must be composed, you must be relaxed whenever you are putting your piece of writing together. An uncontrolled use of the caret masks your piece of writing and makes it unattractive, and that word should be unpleasant to your readers. Unattractive and unpleasant to your readers. So you have to watch out, be very careful. The next internal punctuation mark is the ellipsis. Ellipses are 3 dots, sometimes used to indicate some kind of discontinuity, which suggests that certain information that you have has been skipped or omitted. Look at this popular rhyme. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his arms, and Jill came tumbling after. Now you will see that some parts of the rhyme has been omitted, and this omission is indicated by means of the ellipsis. Note that there could be a space before and after the ellipsis and between each of the dots. This is just a matter of style. For example, when an ellipsis ends a sentence, there are 3 dots, a space, and then a final dot indicating a full stop. This is a common usage in the MLA style. Now, we also have some other forms of word punctuation. We have the apostrophe, and this is used in the following ways to indicate possession. These are examples of word punctuation. That is, these kind of punctuations are done, done on words. Let me use it that way. You pick a word and then you can do something to that word. You can attach a punctuation mark to that word. You can insert a punctuation mark and so on. So we have word punctuation. The first one there is the apostrophe. This is used, number 1, to indicate possession. It could be used with the addition of an S, and then you put the apostrophe after the S if you have a plural form. And where you don't have a plural form, you put the apostrophe and then you add the S. Look at the example, the boy's father, singular, boy's father. Where we have more than one boy, then we say the boy's father. So in that situation, you have the apostrophe inserted at the end of the S that indicates the plural form. Then we can also use the apostrophe to show possessive case of nouns ending in S originally. The word James, for instance, that name James ends in S. So if James has a book, you can then say this is James' book or James's book. The 2 forms are correct. The apostrophe can also take the place of omitted letters or parts in names for the sake of abbreviation. For instance, you have Kemi or Laemi, and before that word Kemi, you have an apostrophe, in which Kemi is a reduced form of Oluwakemi. That is, a part of the name is being cut off, and the apostrophe there is used to indicate this part that is being cut off. Then we have the word punctuation, another word punctuation, which is the hyphen. The hyphen is a punctuation mark, and it can be used to add a prefix to a word, e.g. man-eater, go-getter. You know there are some compound words that do not need the use of the hyphen, and there are some that need the hyphen to be inserted, and then at the end of the day you still have that word as a single word. In gate man, for instance, you have 2 words and there's no need for the hyphen, but in man-eater or go-getter you need the hyphen, that is that punctuation mark, and then you link the 2 words together to make one word. The hyphen is also used to create compound words. Please take note, it is used to create compound words. Some of them may even be more than 2 words, like mother-in-law, father-in-law, and then maybe 2 words, bylaws. It is also used when writing numbers in words, e.g. 55, 42. You insert the hyphen between the two numbers that are brought together. Then we have capitalization. The use of capital letters, also known as uppercase letters, helps readers to read whatever you have written without confusion. You have written something down, and there are people who want to read whatever you have written. Your use of capitalization will help them to read whatever you have written without confusion, without mixing up things. Capitalization can be used to begin the initial letter of the first word of any sentence. For the personal pronoun I also, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of students, who write their essays and they use the lowercase letter I to represent the personal pronoun I. This is wrong. This is wrong. Now, capitalization can also be used in initial letters in the proper nouns. In fact, it is a must that proper nouns begin with capital letters or uppercase letters. Your name, for instance, should begin with an uppercase letter. Note that some words naturally have the first letter in them written in uppercase, naturally. An example of such words is internet. Anytime you write the word internet, that letter I must always be in the uppercase form, or it must always be a capital letter. Now, in study session 9, you have learned that punctuation is the act of inserting signs in written text, and that this is done for the purpose of separating structural units in addition to achieving clarity and readability. You have also learned that the three types of punctuation, are the end punctuation, the internal punctuation, and word punctuation. Each of these has its various kinds of signs known as punctuation marks. You need to be familiar with many of these punctuation marks. A lot of students, for instance, do not use the semicolon. A lot of students also do not know how to use the caret and other kinds of punctuation marks. A lot of students are only familiar with the full stop and the comma, maybe sometimes the question mark and then the exclamation mark. So try to get familiar with the punctuation marks we have discussed and try to use them appropriately. In the GNS 101 course materials, there are various examples of usage of each of these punctuation marks that will help you a great deal. Thank you. I'll see you in the next study session. Bye.